The Pikmin series to me has always felt like an interesting experiment of letting Nintendo fully embrace its most weird and unique characteristics to create a brand new IP. We've thus seen history repeat itself with the likes of ARMS and Splatoon, but Pikmin, to me at least, felt like the start of it, and now more than 20 years later, the series finds itself on its fourth mainline entry. To celebrate, Nintendo has shadow dropped the first two Pikmin games from the GameCube over to the Nintendo Switch with upscaled visuals, new controls, and ultimately making the entire mainline series essentially accessible on a single device. I'll be breaking up this review into two separate games as opposed to the various elements I normally follow for my reviews, simply to better organize my thoughts for these two titles. I'll be breaking up this review into two separate games as opposed to the various elements I normally follow for my reviews, simply to better organize my thoughts and to better present my thoughts on these two titles. Starting off with the first entry in the series, it had been a while since I last played this entry. I believe it would have been sometime around 2009 when the Wii got its port version complete with Wii Remote controls. This new Nintendo Switch version utilizes the same version for this port, porting over the base game and translating the Wii Remote controls over to the Joy-Con. Unfortunately, they're not as accurate as the Switch simply because gyroscope aiming isn't as accurate as having a dedicated infrared sensor. Nevertheless, the game is playable, just not as good in terms of controls. Luckily, you do have the option to play with a gamepad or in handheld mode, but instead of using gyroscope controls similar to Pikmin 3, it is a one-to-one conversion of the GameCube controller. While I still prefer the Wii Remote controls, playing with gamepad controls in this new version was more than suitable, just not the best. Otherwise, a lot of this port is just an up-res version of the Wii game now on Switch. That means in dock mode you can expect a 1080p 30fps performance and 720p 30f performance in handheld mode. Models of characters, enemies, and UI in general see the biggest facelift. They all look so much sharper and clearer. Textures on the other hand look a bit dated in conjunction with these new models. I will say it sort of gives the game an odd charm to it, although in other times it makes me wish it got the Metroid Prime Remastered treatment. Instead, you can expect something more similar to Super Mario 3D All-Stars Collection ports. Those are the main changes, but outside of that, this is still Pikmin 1, one of the best GameCube games out there. You control Captain Olimar, who gets stranded on a foreign planet. With 30 days of life supplies available, your timer quickly starts as Olimar needs to gather at least 25 of his 30 missing ship parts in order to go home. In order to do so, he enlists the help of these small but colorful aliens called Pikmin. As you get them to join your efforts, you slowly explore more of the environment, its treasures, and its hazards. Pikmin plays as a real-time strategy game that pushes you to be resourceful, great with time management, and solve puzzles. Each Pikmin color coordinates the special abilities. Red Pikmin are strong and can withstand fire. Yellow Pikmin are light and can conduct electricity. And blue Pikmin can live in water. As they help you collect more ship parts, more of the planet becomes accessible to you, letting you truly do as you see fit, albeit with a 30-day time constraint looming over you. Even years later, I was able to complete the main campaign in about 8 hours, and though I still enjoyed my time with it, having played Pikmin 3, there's a lot of quality of life improvements I would have loved to see with this new port. For example, lock-on targeting and gyroscope controls for the gamepad. Nevertheless, as a 22-year-old game, Pikmin 1 still holds up with its fun gameplay loop, charming visuals and music, and all its quirkiness. Pikmin 2 takes a very different approach from its predecessor. Following the events of Pikmin 1, Olimar is sent back to the alien planet by his company in order to recuperate a sudden debt plaguing his work. With this new goal in mind, Pikmin 2's story is less time-sensitive and dramatic than the original. Gone are the time limit and expansive sandboxes for more dungeon crawler-centric experiences. Two new Pikmin types are also added along with the returning trio of Pikmin. First off are the white poison Pikmin that infect creatures when they're eaten. Then there's the purple Pikmin. They're the heavy, tough Pikmin that can carry heavy objects and do a ton of damage. Aside from that, Olimar's co-worker, Captain Louie, comes along for the ride, letting you at any point swap between two captains and corresponding Pikmin. It's an interesting addition, though one that I think would have benefited more if the game focused on sandboxes like the original game. It would eventually be something more focused on with Pikmin 3. Nevertheless, Pikmin 2 decides to focus its efforts on battling rather than exploring and solving puzzles. Personally, I always took this game as more of an expansion rather than a bigger sequel. Olimar and Louie aren't working against the clock to find their way home, they're instead looking for random treasures across procedurally generated caves that they can cash in to pay off their company debt. One of the cooler elements of the original release was that a lot of these treasures were branded items like a battery or a drink or a Nintendo game, things that looked familiar and hinted at this alien planet actually being Earth. Some of that is lost with these sponsored items becoming generic looking items for this re-release. Now, in terms of performance, like the first game port, the visual uplift is very similar. You'll see an upscaled version of character models and UI elements, but that's about it. The end result is some sharp-looking elements juxtaposed with some blurry textures in the environment. Performance is also kept at a 1080p 30 performance in dock mode and 720p performance in handheld mode. And of course, the controls see a very similar implementation. All in all, Pikmin 1 and 2 on Nintendo Switch feel like decent ports of the Wii versions of these titles. The visual upgrades are rather minor, with little changes made and controls taking a hit on the Switch compared to the Wii. Pikmin 1 still remains the stronger of the two titles for me, with Pikmin 2's gameplay choices not really gelling with me as well as the first game. Yet I still appreciate the new additions of Pikmin and mechanics in the second game. If you were looking to replay these games, I think Pikmin 1 and 2 on Switch are good. But if you're playing this for the first time and really want a feel for those controls, I would recommend going with the Wii ports if you can, and if not, these are fine. Just note that I think the controls could be better if they went with the Wii remote.